Okay, so this is a video kind of to gratex about Feynman's epistemology. Gratex used a clip of Feynman, tried to use it as an example of a scientist trying to look for laws that he could then be fascist so people had to believe and blah, 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 and looking down on other forms of science. But that's not at all the case. The reason you look down on some fields that call themselves science is they don't use scientific method, and they're not scientifically they're not scientifically careful, and they're not sufficiently skeptical, actually, is the point. So let's watch some clips, mostly from the same thing, the same movie. The gratex used clips from the same thing. This documentary I took it from also used that. So here's clip one.
People say to me, are you looking for the ultimate laws of physics? No, I'm not. I'm just looking to find out more about the world. And if it turns out there is a simple ultimate law that explains everything, so be it. That would be very nice to discover. If it turns out it's like an onion with millions of layers and we're just sick and tired of looking at the layers, then that's the way it is. But whatever way it comes out, its nature is there, and she's going to come out the way she is. And therefore, when we go to investigate it, we shouldn't pre-decide what it is we're trying to do, except to find out more about it. If you said, but your problem is, why do you find out more about it? If you thought that you were trying to find out more about it because you're going to get an answer to some deep philosophical question, you may be wrong. It may be that you can't get an answer to that particular question by finding out more about the character of nature. But I don't look at it. My interest in science is to simply find out about the world. And the more I find out, the better it is. I like to find out.
Okay. Well, let's zip back in time. And what is he doing then if he's not trying to find the ultimate answers? Well, here's just his description on what science really is.
I'm going to discuss how we would look for a new law. In general, we look for a new law by the following process. First, we guess it. Then we don't laugh, that's really true. Then we compute the consequences of the guess to see what, if this is right, if this law that we guess is right, we see what it would imply, and then we compare those computation results to nature, or we say compare to experiment or experience. Compare it directly with observation to see if it works. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are who made the guess or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. That's all there is to it.
So what kind of beliefs does this lead to?
Kind of concept. I have approximate answers and possible beliefs and different degrees of certainty about different things, but I'm not absolutely sure of anything, and then many things I don't know anything about, such as whether it means anything to ask why we're here, and what the question might mean. I might think about it a little bit. If I can't figure it out, then I go to something else. But I don't have to know an answer. I don't feel frightened by not knowing things, by being lost in a mysterious universe without having any purpose, which is the way it really is as far as I can tell, possibly. It doesn't frighten me.
So a clip I couldn't find, I thought was in this documentary I went through, but he talks about all you can ever know is that you're wrong, right? Because that process, you compare the consequences of your theory to experiment, and you find out that you're wrong eventually. You can never know you're right because there might be more information. So it's a process of elimination. So you can know certain things are wrong, like you can know that there's an internal contradiction. So that leads to this last one, also a rewind in time, where, he's a little bit, he has a little bit of that condescending kind of thing about UFOs. See if it fits in.
My antagonist said.
See if it fits in with the epistemology I just showed you, because I think it obviously does.
Is it impossible that there are flying saucers? Can you prove that it's impossible? I mean, no, I can't prove it's impossible. It's just very unlikely. That, they say, you are very unscientific. If you can't prove it impossible, then how can you say it's likely, that it's unlikely? Well, that's the way that is scientific. It is scientific only to say what's more likely and less likely, and not to be proving all the time possible and impossible. To define what I mean, I finally said to him, listen, I mean that from my knowledge of the world that I see around me, I think that it is much more likely that the reports of flying saucers are the result of the known irrational characteristics of terrestrial intelligence rather than the unknown rational efforts of extraterrestrial intelligence.